20+ airport secrets airlines are hiding from you in 2026. You didn't get randomly selected, you were chosen. Before you even reached the airport, the system had already scored your booking. In 2026, airports don't just check your passport, they analyze your ticket type, your check-in time, your boarding group, your payment method, and even how close to departure you booked. Why were you bumped first? Why did your bag get weighed when others didn't? Why did boarding close early, but only for you? It's not bad luck, it's data. Airlines and airports now run on automated ranking systems, and most travelers have no idea how those systems quietly affect who gets upgraded, who gets delayed, and who gets pushed aside. In this video, we're breaking down 22 airport secrets airlines don't advertise in 2026, from hidden overbooking decisions to the one factor that can influence your entire airport experience before you even leave home. And number 1 explains why some travelers glide through, while others always seem to get stopped. Let's start with something that might already be happening to you. Number 22. Overbooking decisions are made before you reach the gate. Most travelers think overbooking chaos happens at the gate. It doesn't. In 2026, airlines usually know a flight is oversold hours before boarding even begins. The system has already run the numbers. It knows how many people are likely to miss connections, how many no-shows are typical on that route, and how many seats they've sold beyond capacity. And here's the part they don't advertise. When a flight is oversold, passengers are quietly ranked: fare type, loyalty status, when you checked in, whether you booked direct or through a third-party site, how flexible your ticket is. All of that is processed before anyone even makes an announcement asking for volunteers. So when you hear, "We're looking for volunteers," understand this. If not enough people come forward, the system already knows who is most likely to be bumped. And it's rarely the full-fare business traveler. If you want to protect yourself, check in as early as possible, book direct when you can, and understand that the cheapest ticket sometimes comes with invisible trade-offs. Number 21. Carry-on size is enforced more strictly on full flights. Ever notice how your carry-on fits just fine on one trip, but suddenly gets measured on another? That's not random either. When a flight is half empty, agents are relaxed. Bags slide through. No drama. But when the flight is completely full, overhead bin space becomes a battlefield. In 2026, many airlines now receive real-time load data before boarding begins. If the flight is near capacity, gate agents are often instructed to tighten enforcement. That's when the sizers come out. That's when wheels suddenly don't fit. That's when bags that flew perfectly fine last month are now too large. And here's what makes it worse. Late boarding groups are watched more closely because overhead space is already limited. So if you're in a later group on a full flight, your bag is far more likely to be checked at the gate. The smart move? Board as early as your group allows. Don't push carry-on dimensions to the absolute limit. And if a flight looks packed at the gate area, assume enforcement will be stricter. Because when space runs out, rules suddenly matter a lot more. Number 20. Your bag weight is rounded up, not down. Most people pack right to the limit. If the allowance is 23 kilograms, they aim for 23 exactly. That's the mistake. Airport scales are calibrated, but they're not always identical. And many airline systems are programmed to round up, not down. So if your bag reads 23.1 kilograms, it's not treated as basically 23. It's treated as overweight. And here's the part that surprises people. At busy counters or self-service bag drops, there's very little discretion left. The machine reads the weight, the fee triggers automatically, and the agent often can't override it. That's how someone ends up paying $80 or $100 for a difference smaller than a water bottle. And it happens more often in 2026 because self-service bag drops have replaced a lot of the friendly negotiation moment you used to get at the counter. The smarter move? Never pack to the limit. Leave at least a 1 kilogram buffer. Weigh your bag at home, but remember, airport scales can read slightly heavier. If it's close, move heavy items into your carry-on before you reach the counter. Because at the airport, 0.2 kilograms isn't close enough, it's chargeable. Number 19. Boarding group numbers determine overhead bin survival. Your seat number does not guarantee bin space. Your boarding group does. A lot of travelers assume sitting near the front means their bag will go above their seat. That's not how it works anymore. In 2026, Boarding groups are tightly structured to control overhead space flow. By the time later groups are called, many bins near the front are already full, taken by earlier groups sitting further back. And here's what most people don't realize. Gate agents can see how full the flight is before boarding begins. If it's near capacity, they already know bin space will run out. That's why you'll often hear early announcements asking for volunteers to check bags. If you're in a late boarding group, especially on a full flight, your carry-on is statistically more likely to be gate checked, even if it fits the rules. So what can you do? Choose seats that include earlier boarding if it matters to you. Pay attention to your boarding group when booking, and if bin space is important, don't be the last person walking down that jet bridge. Because once the bins are full, the rules become very firm. Number 18. Some airlines close boarding earlier than you expect. Your ticket might say boarding closes 15 minutes before departure. That doesn't always mean the aircraft door closes 15 minutes before departure. In 2026, on-time performance is everything. Airlines are under pressure to push back exactly when scheduled, and once the boarding door is closed and the flight is marked ready, it protects their stats. So what happens? Boarding might technically close a few minutes earlier than you expect, especially if the flight is full and everyone is already scanned in. You might still see the aircraft sitting there. You might see the door. You might even see crew inside. But if the system has been finalized and the door is sealed, reopening it can trigger paperwork, delays, and performance penalties. And that's why you'll sometimes hear, "Sorry, the flight is closed," even though it feels like you're right there. The safest move? Never aim to arrive at the gate at final boarding call. Be there when boarding starts, not when it ends. And remember that departure time is pushback time, not boarding time, because in 2026, airlines protect their schedule first. Number 17. Basic economy passengers are last during disruptions. This one catches a lot of people off guard. When a flight cancels or is heavily delayed, everyone rushes the gate desk thinking it's first come, first served. It's not. In 2026, rebooking is heavily automated, and the system quietly prioritizes passengers based on fare class and loyalty status before the announcements even finish. That means full fare and elite status travelers are often re-protected first. Flexible tickets get moved faster. Basic economy tickets are usually last in line when seats on alternate flights are limited. It doesn't mean you won't be helped. It just means when there are only 5 seats left on the next flight, the system has already decided who gets them. And you might not even know that decision was made until you open your airline app and see your new flight, or see that you weren't moved at all. The takeaway? The cheapest ticket can be perfectly fine when everything runs smoothly. But when things go wrong, that savings can suddenly feel expensive. Because in disruptions, not all tickets are treated equally. Number 16. Rebooking algorithms don't treat everyone equally. When a flight cancels, most people think agents are manually scrambling to help everyone. In reality, the computer usually moves first. In 2026, airlines rely heavily on automated rebooking systems. The moment a cancellation is confirmed, the system starts redistributing passengers onto other flights. And it does not do it randomly. It looks at fare class, loyalty status, ticket flexibility, connection risk, even historical travel value. That means, before you even stand up from your seat, some passengers have already been rebooked, while others are still waiting for options. That's why 2 people standing next to each other on the same canceled flight can open their apps and see completely different outcomes. One is already confirmed on the next departure. The other sees pending. The smartest move in 2026? Check your airline app immediately when a delay or cancellation is announced. Don't wait in line first. The app often updates faster than the desk can help. Because in disruption moments, speed plus status wins. Number 15. Your boarding pass shows more than you think. Most travelers see a name, a seat number, and a barcode. That's not all staff see. When your boarding pass is scanned, the system pulls up your fare type, upgrade eligibility, connection details, special service requests, and sometimes internal booking notes. Officially, this isn't meant to change how you're treated. But during tight situations, like oversold flights, limited upgrades, or last-minute seat swaps, fare type and status are right there on the screen. And here's something subtle. Agents can also see how tight your connection is. If you're likely to misconnect, it may influence whether they rush you through or let standby passengers board first. Your ticket isn't just permission to fly, it's a profile summary. The takeaway? Be polite, be calm. Confidence helps. And understand that what you paid for does quietly influence what options are available. Because when decisions are being made quickly, the screen matters. Number 14. Facial recognition is replacing ID checks. At more airports in 2026, you're not handing over your boarding pass and passport the way you used to. You're stepping up to a camera. Biometric boarding is expanding fast. Instead of scanning your ticket, the system scans your face and matches it to your passport photo or government ID on file. It feels seamless when it works. You walk up. The camera flashes. A green light appears. You keep moving. But here's what most travelers don't realize. If the system struggles to match your image, maybe you've changed your hairstyle, grown facial hair, aged noticeably, or the lighting isn't ideal, it triggers a manual review. And when that happens, you step aside while everyone else keeps boarding. It's not an accusation, it's an identity mismatch. The system is designed for speed, not conversation. And here's another detail. Once biometric boarding is active, opting out can slow you down because you'll need manual processing while others move through automatically. The smart move? Remove hats and glasses before stepping up. Stand still. Look directly at the camera. Make sure your airline profile matches your passport exactly, because in 2026, your face is your boarding pass. And when the tech works, it's fast. But when it doesn't, it's very public. Number 13. Airport Wi-Fi tracks movement patterns. Free airport Wi-Fi feels harmless. You connect. You check messages. You scroll while waiting to board. But in 2026, airport Wi-Fi systems do more than just give you internet access. They track anonymous device movement patterns. Not your name, not your personal messages, but your device signal. Airports use this data to measure crowd flow, predict congestion, and adjust staffing. They can see how long people linger near certain gates, how early travelers arrive before departure, and even which retail zones attract the most traffic. It's operational data. But here's why it matters to you. If the system shows congestion building near your gate, security lanes and boarding timing may adjust. Retail staff are positioned based on movement patterns. Even announcements can change based on crowd density. Airports are no longer just buildings, they're data ecosystems. If you want more privacy, turn off Wi-Fi and Bluetooth when you're not using them, but understand that many modern terminals rely on device pings to manage flow. It's not dramatic, it's efficient. But it does mean that even when you're just sitting at a gate, the system knows how long you've been there. Number 12. Secondary screening is often behavior-based. A lot of travelers assume extra screening is random. Sometimes it is, but often it's behavior-based. Security officers are trained to observe movement patterns and body language long before you step into a scanner. Fast pacing, arguing loudly on the phone, filming security checkpoints, refusing to make eye contact, over-explaining before being asked. None of these mean you've done anything wrong, but they can trigger a closer look. In 2026, security blends automation with observation. The machines scan bags. The staff scan behavior. And here's what surprises people. The person who looks rushed, frustrated, and visibly stressed is more likely to get pulled aside than the person who looks calm and neutral. It's not about being suspicious. It's about standing out. The smart move? Slow down before security. Take your headphones out. Follow instructions without commentary. Keep movements steady. Because once you're flagged for secondary screening, you don't argue your way out of it. You cooperate your way through it. And calm travelers move faster than reactive ones. Number 11. Passport damage causes more denials than expired visas. Most travelers check the expiry date. They rarely check the condition. In 2026, airlines and border agents are enforcing passport damage rules more strictly than ever. And the surprising part? More people are denied boarding for damaged passports than for visa issues. Small tears, water damage, peeling laminate, loose binding, even heavy wear on the photo page. To you, it might look fine. To an airline, it's a liability. Here's why. If immigration in your destination country refuses you entry because your passport is damaged, the airline has to fly you back at their expense. So airlines often enforce condition standards even before border control does. And once you're at the counter, there's no quick fix. You can't tape it. You can't argue that it worked last time. And you definitely can't board with a compromised document. The smart move? Check your passport weeks before travel. Look at the edges, the corners, the binding. Make sure the photo page is fully intact and the laminate isn't lifting. Because in 2026, condition matters just as much as expiration. And discovering that at check-in is a very expensive surprise. Number 10. Battery rules are being enforced more aggressively. Almost everyone travels with spare batteries now. Power banks, camera batteries, rechargeable devices, lithium packs, and in 2026, enforcement around lithium batteries has tightened, especially on international routes. Here's what catches people out. Loose lithium batteries are not allowed in checked luggage. Some airlines limit the number you can carry. Higher capacity power banks over certain watt-hour limits can be refused entirely, and security officers are paying closer attention this year because of global safety updates. What used to slide through quietly is now being pulled out and examined. If a power bank doesn't clearly display its watt-hour rating, it can be confiscated on the spot, and once it's taken at security, you don't get it back. The safest approach? Keep all lithium batteries in your carry-on. Make sure the capacity label is clearly visible. Know your airline's watt-hour limits before you pack. Avoid bringing oversized, high-capacity power banks unless you're certain they comply. Because this isn't about inconvenience, it's about fire risk, and airlines aren't flexible on that anymore. And what's frustrating is most travelers only find out when they're standing at the checkpoint. Number 9. Airline apps update faster than the gate desk. When a delay or cancellation hits, most people do the same thing. They stand up, they rush the counter, they join a long line. But in 2026, the real action often happens inside the airline app. Airlines now use automated disruption systems. The moment a flight is officially delayed or canceled, the system starts reassigning seats on alternate flights. And here's the key part. The app usually updates before the announcement is even finished. That means while dozens of passengers are forming a queue, some travelers are already opening their phones and seeing new flight options, or even confirmed rebookings. If you wait to speak to an agent first, you're often slower than the algorithm. And when seats are limited, speed matters. The smart move? The moment you hear delay or cancellation, open the app immediately. Check alternative flights yourself. Accept a suitable rebooking quickly before those seats disappear. Then, if needed, join the line to fine-tune it. Because in disruption moments, the system doesn't reward patience. It rewards whoever taps confirm first. Number 8. Last-minute bookings can trigger extra review. Booking a flight the night before isn't illegal, but in 2026, it can attract attention. Airline and border systems look at booking patterns as part of standard risk assessment. One-way international tickets, short-notice bookings, cash payments, no checked luggage. Individually, none of these mean anything is wrong. Together, they can move your profile into a higher review category. And here's the part most travelers don't realize. That review often happens before you even arrive. By the time you're standing at check-in, your booking has already been screened by automated systems. If something doesn't match typical travel patterns on that route, you might receive additional questions or secondary screening. It's not an accusation, it's a pattern check. Business travelers booking last minute are common. Emergency travel is common, but unusual combinations of booking details stand out more now than they did a few years ago. The smart move? When possible, book in advance. Use standard payment methods. Complete your airline profile fully. And if you do book last minute, expect a few extra questions and answer them calmly. Because sometimes the airport experience starts the moment you hit purchase. Number 7. Gate agents can see more about your ticket than you think. When your boarding pass is scanned, the agent doesn't just see your name and seat, they see your fare class. They see if it's basic economy or flexible. They see your loyalty status. They see how, and sometimes where you booked it. Officially, that shouldn't change how you're treated. But when flights are oversold, when only one seat remains, or when upgrades are being cleared, the system shows exactly who paid what, and decisions get made quickly. 2 passengers can be standing next to each other, same flight, same destination, but one paid full fare and holds status. The other bought the lowest fare through a third-party site. If there's only one rebooking seat left, the system already has a preference. It's not personal, it's prioritized. And most travelers never realize that what they paid quietly follows them all the way to the gate. Number 6. Check-in time can affect your priority. This one sounds small, but it matters more than people think. Your check-in time is logged. In 2026, that timestamp can influence standby ranking, upgrade order, and even bump decisions when flights are oversold. If two passengers have the same fare class and no major status difference, the system often uses check-in time as a tiebreaker, meaning the person who checked in right when online check-in opened could be ranked slightly higher than the person who waited until arriving at the airport. It won't override fare class, but it can decide who gets the last available seat. The smart move? Set a reminder. Check in the moment it opens, usually 24 hours before departure. Because when the system needs to choose between similar passengers, seconds can matter. Number 5. Your behavior at the airport can trigger extra screening. A lot of travelers assume screening is purely random. It's not always. Security officers are trained to observe behavior patterns long before you reach the scanner. Rapid pacing, arguing loudly, filming checkpoints, over-explaining before being asked, looking visibly agitated. None of these mean you've done anything wrong, but they can draw attention. In 2026, airport security blends automation with human observation. Machines scan bags, people scan behavior. And here's what surprises many travelers. The person who looks stressed and reactive is more likely to get pulled aside than the person who looks calm and neutral. The smart move? Slow down before security. Remove headphones. Follow instructions clearly and calmly. Keep movements steady, because once you're selected for secondary screening, arguing doesn't speed it up. Cooperation does. Number 4. Your checked bag can be opened without telling you. Once you hand over your suitcase, most people assume it stays sealed unless something goes seriously wrong. That's not how it works. Airport security has the legal right to open checked luggage without notifying you. If your bag triggers an alert during scanning, dense packing, electronics cluttered together, unclear shapes, it can be diverted for inspection. If you're using a TSA-approved lock, it can be opened and relocked. If you're not, the lock can be cut off. You may only find out when you open your suitcase at your destination and see an inspection notice inside. And here's the detail most travelers don't realize. Airline liability for missing items is limited unless you declared high-value contents properly in advance. So if you packed expensive gear in checked luggage and something disappears, compensation may be far lower than you expect. The smart move? Keep valuables in your carry-on. Pack neatly so scans are easy to interpret. Avoid wrapping items in foil or thick opaque layers, because once your bag leaves your hands, you don't control what happens next. Number 3. Disruptions are ranked, not handled equally. When a flight is canceled, it feels chaotic. Crowds gather, lines form. Everyone thinks it's first come, first served, but the ranking has already started. In 2026, disruption systems automatically prioritize passengers based on fare class, loyalty status, connection urgency, and even how often you fly that airline. That's why two people on the same canceled flight can receive completely different rebooking outcomes within minutes. One gets confirmed on the next departure, the other is waitlisted. The system doesn't just look at who is standing in line, it looks at long-term value and ticket type. And that decision often happens before you even speak to an agent. That's why checking your app immediately matters, because the rebooking race starts before the announcement ends. Number 2. The airport experience changes based on how you booked. Most travelers think the airport experience begins at security. In reality, it begins at purchase. How you booked matters. Last-minute international one-way ticket, cash payment, no checked luggage, incomplete profile. Individually, none of those are problems. Combined, they can trigger extra review layers before you even arrive. Airline and border systems analyze booking patterns as part of automated risk assessment. That doesn't mean you're in trouble. It means your profile might receive more attention. By the time you're standing at the counter, much of the evaluation has already happened quietly in the background. Which brings us to the one thing that ties everything together. Number 1. The system evaluates you before you even arrive. Most people think the airport experience starts at the terminal. It doesn't. In 2026, your airport journey begins the moment you book your ticket. Airlines and border systems analyze booking data automatically. Your fare type, your loyalty history, your check-in time, your route, your travel frequency, even whether your travel pattern looks typical for that destination. None of this means you've done anything wrong, but it does mean you're being categorized. By the time you reach the airport, multiple systems have already processed your booking. Risk assessment systems, revenue management systems, disruption ranking systems. That's why some travelers glide through, some get selected more often, some are rebooked instantly, some are bumped first. It often feels random. It isn't. Airports today run on layered automation. Human agents step in, but the ranking happens first. And here's the key takeaway. You can't control every variable, but you can control some of them. Book in advance when possible. Check in early. Keep your profile complete. Stay calm at the airport. Understand the fare you're buying. Because in 2026, the airport doesn't just process passengers, it processes data. And the smoother your data looks, the smoother your journey usually is.